Do you ever feel like your life is split into two sometimes? You know, there's the version of you that everyone sees, competent, confident, curated, knows what to say, knows how to act, knows how to land in a room. And then there's the version of you that watches all of that from somewhere behind the glass. Not participating, just observing. It tends to start small. You adjust how you speak in certain rooms. You hold back a thought because it might sound off. You laugh at something you don't find funny just to keep things smooth. You know, normal stuff, everyone does it. But then something strange happens. That version of you, the polished, public-facing one, starts clicking. People respond to it. They compliment you, they respect you, they invite you in. And without realizing it, you start investing in that image more than you invest in yourself. Because let's be honest, the real you isn't always convenient, right? It hesitates, it overthinks, it feels things at the wrong time, it says things that don't always land perfectly. But the polished version, clean, efficient, predictable, rewarded. So you start optimizing for that. You think before you feel, you edit before you speak. You perform before you connect, and you become incredibly good at reading the room, but slowly lose the ability to read yourself. And here's where it turns, because one day you realize that the mask is getting more recognition than the person wearing it. It's getting the compliments, it's getting the opportunities, it's building the relationships, and you're sitting here thinking, if they actually knew me, would any of this still exist? So now you're in this weird position. You can't drop it because it's working. You can't fully own it either because it's not really you at your core. So what do? You double down. You refine it further. Better tone, better timing, better presence. You become impressive. And slowly you stop asking, is this me? And you start asking, is this good enough? And I think that's the shift. That's where you can lose yourself, not in chaos, but in optimization. You become the PR manager for your own existence, managing perceptions, managing reactions, managing outcomes. And again, it works, right? People like you, they trust you. Shit, they even respect you. You can walk into any room and handle yourself. But then you go home and maybe something feels off. Because the person who performed all day isn't the person sitting in that room anymore. And that gap, it keeps getting wider and wider and wider and wider and wider. Slowly, silently, but nevertheless consistently. Until one day you realize that you don't actually know which version of you is the real one. The one that thrives in the presence of others, or the one that only exists when no one is watching. Are they both you? You know, the scary part is that the world rewards the one that isn't necessarily the one you're most comfortable with when you're alone, so you keep going. Because what's the alternative? Blow it all up? Start over? Be raw and abrasive and risk losing everything you've built? Hell no. So you don't fix anything, you just manage it. You tell yourself, this is how life works. This is maturity. This is growth. But is that true? Or is it misalignment? Because you didn't build a stronger version of yourself, you just built a more acceptable one. And I think there's a difference, right? A stronger version feels grounded. An acceptable version feels monitored. One expands you, and the other contains you, limits what you can do, limits what you should say. So what's the move? It's not to destroy the outer version, that would be stupid. I mean, that's the version that got you where you are, wherever you are in life. The move is to sync them, but how do you do that? Well, you slowly start letting your outer self tell the truth about your inner self. Of course, not all at once, but in glimpses, in moments. Say the thing you normally filter out. Hold the silence instead of filling it. Disagree when it costs you something. Show up slightly less perfect and slightly more real. Because the goal isn't to be liked by everybody. It's to be recognized by yourself. And here's something that I was never told. When the two finally start aligning, you don't become louder, you become calmer. Because you're not performing anymore, or at least not as much as you were. You're just consistent. The inner you and the outer you are not as different anymore. There's less of a split, no glass, no second version watching from the background. Just you, in the room, as you are. And from what I can tell, that's not just confidence. I think that's peace. That is what peace is. And that's where I'm trying to get.